We good?
Yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting is being held with the benefit of public notice as required by the Open Public Meeting Act. Madam Clerk, would you do the roll call?
Mr. Carabelli?
Here.
Mr. Ty?
Here.
Mr. Vaccaro?
Here.
Mr. Whalen?
Here.
For the record, Council President Phillips is absent this evening.
Will you please stand for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing as we pause a moment of silence for our soldiers, our sailors, our airmen, and airwomen who are defending us around the globe in our way of life. Councilman Carabelli, could you do the invocation?
Sure. Dear God, source of enduring hope, may we always be appreciative of the many gifts that you give us. We are thankful especially during these summer days for the beauty and life that abounds. May we constantly strive to make a meaningful difference in the lives of our loved ones and in the world around us as we enjoy the warm days of summertime. And may we as a council serve the residents of this township with honesty and integrity, and as always work towards a better tomorrow for our community. We make all of these intentions and those in the silence of our hearts. Amen.
Amen.
Council President, the first item this evening are the minutes of May 3rd, May 17th, May 31st, June 21st, and July 19th for your consideration.
We could vote on that in one block, right?
Certainly.
Does anybody have any questions on the minutes of those 5 meetings?
I do not.
If not, a motion's in order.
Make a motion to accept the minutes from the 5 meetings.
I'll second that motion.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Vaccaro?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Moving on to resolutions, the first resolution before the governing body this evening is Resolution 1, which is a resolution of Hamilton Township, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, supporting Violet Genetics application to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission for a Class 1 cannabis cultivator and/or Class 2 cannabis manufacturing license.
Is anybody here from Violet Genetics?
It's my understanding that someone was supposed to appear this evening, Council President.
That they weren't or they were?
That they were.
Yeah, we were under the same impression.
Okay, we can hold off on that.
So would you like to move on with the rest of the agenda and see how that comes about?
We could move on with the rest of the agenda
Okay.
and then circle
Do we
back.
need a motion for that?
We need a motion?
No, that's okay, we'll come back to it.
Okay.
Okay. The next item is the consent agenda. We have items CA1 through CA29 for your consideration.
Everybody have a chance to go over the consent agenda? As you can see, by the items on there, naturally the first one is the appointment of Christopher Tazi as the Emergency Management Coordinator, replacing Rich Kramer, who just recently retired. We see some grants that we received. We also have a resolution for drive sober, get pulled over, which is $8,700. That runs from August 19th through September 5th. Also have another grant that we received for the first time, a $75,000 grant for Fighter Fire Grant Program. This is the first one. If the grants are available in the future, meaning moving forward, we'll be applying for them in the future. There are some tax refunds on here. There's also a community block grant for $623,290. That's for low and moderate income. It helps provide housing stability, special needs. It's a good grant that we were able to get a hold of. We had an increase on, CA 16, I think it was, for roof. Which one was that they changed?
Firehouse?
Firehouse roof, that was an addition.
23.
That was an addition of $5,722. I guess once they started tearing up the old roof, some of the wood was exposed, insulation was wet, so that's the reason for the increase there. There's also a decrease in item number CA22, which was wood rustling paving and concrete, miscellaneous curb, sidewalk, driveway, aprons. It was a $15,173 decrease. Again, many return fees. Resolution amending C27, authorizing refund real estate taxes, sewer overpayments, $132,193.91, and correcting the total to reflect $81,000. Could you explain that real quick?
Apparently, I guess at the time, the original resolution indicated total refund price of $132,193. But upon the tax office review, it was determined that that number was actually incorrect. So this resolution will make the total figure to be $81,188.33, as what should have been on the original resolution.
Okay. Is there any other, items that jump out to council that they'd like to discuss, or?
I'll just wanted to mention a couple, just had some questions. The increase for the CA24, the increase of $12,000 for auditing services from the 2021 audit, that's just cleaning up this outstanding audit from 2021?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had hired something.
So, I remember that, yeah.
The bank regs for 2021, and after they got into it, one of the largest accounts that we have, the current fund, has some, additional work that needs to be done. So they were really trying to get this done quickly, and so they said they needed probably about another 80 hours worth of work in order to get that one completed. And that's necessary so that we can continue on and continue to do our 2021 audit, which is being done by our auditing firm.
Okay. And then for CA6, I know Councilman Whalen mentioned that 629, roughly 629. Is that typical what we usually get, Kath, or something like that? And too close?
Get back the mic up. Push it away from you.
Okay.
Yes, this is currently, it may be a little bit more than what we've gotten in the past.
Okay.
But, this is our CDBG grant fund. So that's all this is adding it to our budget so that we can then process it.
Utilize this one, right.
Okay. For the purpose which is intended.
Okay. And on CA14, I have family relationships, so I need to abstain on that.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? If not, I'll open it up to the public if they have any questions on the consent agenda. Come on forward. Just for the record, I'm sure you know, state your name and address.
Bonnie Tillery, Sawmill Road. I have a question on CA8. I'm wondering why we're paying Project Freedom something when we gave them the property that they're building on.
I believe this is an annual contribution that the township has been making in order to facilitate their work with disabled individuals. It's something we've been doing for many years.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public on the consent agenda? If not, we could have a motion.
Council President, I move that we close the public comment portion and move consent agenda items CA1 through CA29.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes, with the
Tom.
one.
I'm sorry, with the abstention so noted in CA 14.
14, correct.
Very good. Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Consent agenda passes. Moving on to ordinances. We have ordinances on second reading and public hearing. The first one is ordinance 122-030, an ordinance accepting grant of a conservation restriction easement for property known as 2780 Cruiser LLC for the old block known as 2596 lots 5 and 6, which is now the new block 2596 lot 5.01. This is second reading and public hearing.
Any questions from council?
No, sir.
At this point, we'll open it up for the public comment on ordinance number 1 on second reading. Seeing no one from the public like to speak, we can move on to ordinance number 1. Motion.
I make the motion to close the public portion, and move or adopt ordinance 122-030.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Ordinance 2 is 22-031, an ordinance accepting deed of right-of-way dedication for road widening purposes for 2780 Cruiser LLC, old block and lot 2596, part of lots 5 and 6, new block 2596, part of lot 5.01. This is second reading and public hearing.
Any questions from council? Comments?
No, sir.
Open it up to the public. On ordinance number 2, resolution 22-031. Or ordinance, sorry. Seeing no questions from the public, we'll take a motion.
Council President, I look to close the public comment portion and move to adopt on second reading ordinance number 22-031.
Second motion?
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Ordinance 3 is ordinance 22-033, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 270, hunting and firearms. This is second reading and public hearing.
Make a comment on that? Where? Okay. Any questions from council or comments? Any questions from the public on ordinance number 322-033? Yes, Janice.
Janice Connick, First Edition, Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights. What exactly is this, hunting and firearms? Is it an area where they go hunting, or they're increasing the firearms to different firearms, or what?
Well, from
it's
what
an-
go ahead.
It's an area, certain places in the township where you're going to be prohibited from carrying firearms due to the Supreme Court decision that came out.
Okay, well, I didn't think we were allowed to carry them anyway.
If you have a permit to carry,
outside of permit,
concealed
right.
carry permit, you are allowed to. Based on you need training, you need a registration, you need the licensure firearm. However, certain places such as this building, you're not going to be allowed to carry that firearm.
Oh, okay.
So we're basically getting ahead of the ruling that came out of Supreme Court, right?
Oh, very good, because we had the
So we
hunting
went-
and the firearms, so what the hunting had to find.
It's all, that's just the way it's listed in the town code.
It's a different section.
Oh.
It's a chapter, section 1 is about hunting, chapter 2 is about, section 2 is about firearms restriction, and the new section is -3, and that's about firearms are not allowed in Louisville or things like this one.
Oh, okay. Very good, because I'm thinking you need firearms to go hunting, so I had no idea what you're doing here. Okay, all right, that's good restriction. Good job, guys. I would think you're doing a good job. Keep it up.
Okay.
Thank you, John. Any other questions from the public? If not, I'd like to take a motion.
Council President, seeing no other members of the public who wish to comment, I move that we close the public comment portion and move ordinance 3, 22-033 on second reading.
Second motion?
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ordinance passes 4-0. Ordinance 4 is 22-034, An ordinance of the Township of Hamilton in the County of Mercer, New Jersey, providing for the various capital improvements and related expenses in and for the Township appropriating $16,860,900. Therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $11,199,836 in general improvement bonds or notes of the Township to finance the same. This is second reading and public hearing.
Any questions or comments from council?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Not, I'll open it up to the public on ordinance number 422-034. Seeing no questions from the public, we could move for a motion.
Make a motion to close the public comment on ordinance, number 422-034 and adoption.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Ordinance 5 is 22-035, an ordinance of the Township of Hamilton in the County of Mercer, New Jersey, providing for the improvements to the Township's wastewater treatment system, and for the Township appropriating $10,522,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $10,522,000 in sewer utility bonds or notes of the Township to finance the same. This is second reading and public hearing.
Any questions or comments from council? At this time, I'll open up to the public on ordinance number 5, 22-035. Seeing no one from the public, I'll move for a motion.
Council President, I look to close the public comment portion and move to adopt on second reading ordinance number 22-035.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Ordinance 6 is 22-036, a bond ordinance of the Township of Hamilton in the County of Mercer, New Jersey, providing for demolition and pre-construction activity at the Township-owned property located at 1750 White Horse Mercerville Road, in and by the Township of Hamilton, appropriating $4 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,800,000 in general improvement bonds or notes of the Township to finance the same. This is second reading and public hearing.
This is the old ShopRite property over on White Horse Avenue, if anybody's not sure. Any questions or comments from council?
Just glad to see we continue to make progress on this redevelopment project. Among many.
Long overdue.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments from the public on ordinance number 6? Seeing there's no one from the public to speak on ordinance 6, we'll move for motion.
Council President, I move that we close the public comment portion and move ordinance 22-036 on second reading.
Second motion.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ordinance passes 4-0. Ordinance 7 is 22-037. An ordinance authorizing the Township of Hamilton to enter into agreement with East State Realty LLC, its successors and/or signs for the acquisition of improvements and property located at 1762 East State Street and designated as Block 1637, Lot 9, Hamilton, New Jersey. The purchase price is $55,000. This is second reading and public hearing.
This is the building, the house next to the buildings that we already demolished, if I'm, just so the public knows, correct?
This is.
I'm pretty sure it's at
1762.
Right.
It's not next to, it's
Right.
directly
Okay.
next to. I mean, it's all within the same group of
Right.
additional.
It's on that block.
Exactly, on that same block.
So
Any
this is
Go ahead.
the Bromley Fire property, which again is another property that for years needed attention. This administration's been moving forward, along with this council, to redevelop these properties. So, and this was a tricky one. Our township attorney had to do a lot of work to figure out who owns some of these properties and how to proceed.
And also, originally we thought the damage was only the ones that we've already taken down. Once we took that middle group down, we were then able to look into the, above in the attics and down below, and we saw that the fire damage actually increased farther than anyone had known before, and so they're equally as dangerous, and so that's why we're continuing to spread out.
It's tricky with row homes.
Any other questions or comments from council? We'll open up to the public on ordinance number 7. Seeing no public comment, we'll move for motion.
Council President, I'd like to close the public comment portion and move to adopt ordinance number 20, on second reading, ordinance number 22-037.
Second motion.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Moving on to first reading and introduction of ordinances. Ordinance 1 is 22-038, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Town of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 311, noise, Section 311-2, definitions. This is first reading and introduction.
Council President, I make a motion to introduce ordinance 22-038 on first reading.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Ordinance 2 is 22-039, an ordinance establishing mandatory direct deposit of net pay for Township of Hamilton employees in specific banking institutions based on information provided by such employees. The ordinance is on first reading and introduction.
Council President, I'll introduce ordinance 22-039 on first reading.
A second motion.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Ordinance 3 is 22-040, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, vehicles and traffic, Article 2, parking, subsection 485-19, handicap parking. This is to repeal a space established at 23 Lillian Avenue by ordinance number 18-016.
Council President, I'll move to introduce on first reading ordinance number 22-040.
I'll second the motion.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Ordinance 4 is 22-041, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, vehicles and traffic, Article 2, parking, subsection 485-17, residential permit parking.
Council President, I move to introduce ordinance 22-041 on first reading.
A second motion.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Ordinance 5 is 22-042, an ordinance of the Township of Hamilton, County of Mercer, New Jersey, providing for improvements to the township's wastewater treatment system and for the township appropriating $6,750,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $6,755,000 in sewer utility bonds or notes of the township to finance the same.
Council President, move to introduce ordinance 22-042 on first reading.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. That concludes, I'm sorry, Council President, unless we have someone here from Violet Genetics? Okay.
Okay. All right, so we're going to circle back and bring in Violet Genetics.
Morning. Good evening. I apologize. There was a lot of traffic heading over here.
That's okay, but before we get started, why don't you state your names and address and...
Sure.
Go from there.
Christian Chavez and Emily Chavez. We are part of Violet Genetics, principal owners.
Okay.
And our address, is that what you're looking for?
Well, do we need their address? They're at it.
Not really. We're
No.
good.
No,
Okay.
and you don't have an address yet here, so.
No.
Correct. We have identified the facility. I believe that we shared it with the mayor.
Mhm. Okay, want to give us a little background with your company?
Sure, of course. So Violet Genetics basically We are 11 total professionals. A lot of us are part of, different local, like cannabis experts from either New Jersey medicinal side or out of state. Our president, Ricardo Lewis, which I actually asked the mayor for permission to bring him in for any technical questions. He's out of the country right now, but he was one of the first medicinal operators with Greenleaf Compassionate that sold to Ascend Wellness. You guys are probably familiar with them. So we were awarded a conditional license, and I believe we submitted the business plan to Hamilton at this point. We identified a property in Hamilton, and this is where would love to operate in. If you would allow me to bring our president into the call, that's why we want, because it's not hybrid, so.
I don't think it's necessary that you bring them in. We've had different applications in front of us, so I just try to get your business plan and, are you operating any facilities in New Jersey currently or surrounding states?
No, we're not, because recreation has not gone, completely, the annual license has not been awarded. So we were awarded one of the first conditional, so now we're looking to convert it to the annual. So that's, everyone's is kind of in the same phase. So hopefully in the next, within the next 30 days, we proceed with the CRC, explaining to them that we have a property in Hamilton and a resolution here. So.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
So this is 1090 AM Way, correct, the site?
It is not. That was one of our original locations that we proposed to Hamilton when we submitted for our conditional.
Okay.
There's a new address, which actually I think we submitted to Nick, you may have it. I don't even know which exact address it is. It's going to be for, I believe it's 2 or 3 lands combined. We're going to build the same concept, 40,000 square foot facility, give or take. We're going to run a 2-tier system in order to get a 40,000 square foot canopy.
When you say 2-tier system, 2 levels of?
It's 1 level, so basically 16-foot ceilings. It's just the way that the racks work. It's a system that it's just grows on 2 different levels. And that's how our president and the rest of the team grew back with, Greenleaf and Ascend Wellness on the medicinal side.
Sir, we need the actual address because currently, as written, the draft resolution that we have says 1000 Nottingham Way as the location. So we need the new address so that we can move to amend the resolution.
That's why I was looking it up, because I remember seeing it.
Yeah.
You saw me looking on the map. Wait a minute.
Yeah, because I think what happened is one of our team members, when he presented to the town originally, the business plan has Nottingham Way. So we have a new address. If you give me a second, I can pull it up if that's okay.
Okay, so we'll amend it after.
So amend during the.
As amended.
Yes.
So you can't sign this, we signed it tonight, it's going to be amended,
We can write it on here and then tomorrow we'll rewrite it correctly and then we'll sign it. I don't know if the rest of you.
We've amended on the spot before.
I know, but how do we know that the location's been approved by the town? If we're being told it's 1,000, how do we know if Fred and his team approved?
Because, Mayor had, emailed us to make sure that this got on the agenda, right? So I can, after.
Yeah, it happened really fast. On Thursday, we had another meeting, a second meeting with Fred, the mayor, giving more specifics. I'm not privy to the address itself, but I know it's 2 lots.
Is that okay?
It's on Industrial Road.
Oh, Thomas.
Thomas
Roads?
Yeah, 36,
When I
38,
pulled up, it
38,
was,
Thomas J. Rhodes Industrial Drive.
Okay.
I
Yes.
apologize, yeah. I thought you guys had that on file, so apologies.
What is it again, 36?
It is 36, 38. Let me see if there's another one.
So Allison just indicated the mayor's last email, the only indication to the change was to add as a and/or class 2 cannabis manufacturing, so there was no other indication about an address.
They want to come up and ask them to come up with a public comment.
The Thomas Rose Avenue, is that what it's called? Yeah, Thomas J. Rose Industrial Drive.
I have the block and lot if needed. If you want.
Yeah, can you ask me?
Sure, so the block is 1519, and the lot is 20 and 21.
So this was vacant land, it's not actually an existing building at the
Correct, yeah.
location?
Correct. And it conforms, we double checked already twice.
The people, the lawyer and the people from, Mills or whatever, the liquor.
I know also Fred had specific questions on zoning and everything, we were able to clear it with
They
him.
came here to speak. 12.
Yeah, definitely.
Huh?
Yeah.
Where the list is?
No, I didn't. She
I said just went out to,
Go check the
She
zone.
said she had it, so.
check on the zoning of the property.
Okay, just be patient, we'll be with you in a moment.
Okay, no problem.
Should we go to public comment and then come back to them? Or do you want to just?
I don't think
You
so.
a public comment for voters.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
You should give them a chance.
We gotta do
Yeah.
a public comment first.
Yeah.
Industrial way, right?
Yeah, that's all industrial back there. Thomas Roots.
Yeah. This is vacant portion.
This is vacant
Vacant
parcel.
parcel.
Correct.
Oh, so you guys are building from the ground up?
We are, yeah.
Okay.
Same thing?
Yes.
Figure that.
We find it's a lot easier, we may lose a few months here and there, but it's a lot easier to be able to kind of tailor it, kind of to fit all the CRC guidelines and comply with the town itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's on this one? Should we just double check something? I know where it is.
It is in the right zone.
Okay, it is, it is.
I think we have another
There was
application.
another application.
It is, yeah.
Thomas Root.
But it comes down to whether or not this was the property that the administration was aware of.
Right.
Yeah, I know where it is.
You just send
It's in the right zone.
I think it is. I just.
Since you're up there, we can ask questions, right?
Yeah.
How many employees do you expect to have?
On one shift, about 30, 35.
How about total, one shift, total?
Total one shift, yeah, at all times around 30, 35. Oh, two shifts.
So you're gonna have about 70 employees?
Not all at one time, but yes, in total. Mhm.
And again, this is strictly a grow, this ain't manufacturing, just grow, correct?
It is only a grow, only cultivation. Correct.
Only cultivation.
Yep, that is the only license that we currently have.
Yeah, sure. So you're, one of the regulations is that you need to be a certain feet away from daycare schools and whatnot. Have you measured that out from this proposed address?
We have, that's typically the first thing that we do when we look at it, because I know that the town has one, a restriction and also the CRC. So we did look at it. I can't tell you how much or how many feet at this point, but I know that it's definitely over the limit, a restriction.
And did you review that property with our director?
We did, yes.
Okay, so he's not.
Yeah, I believe that some other team members had two different meetings with the town at this point. And there were, some various property-specific questions and mechanicals and odor control and basically everything that would be a concern for a town and its residents.
When they say odor control, I know that's a tough subject. Because I've encountered a couple of facilities, okay, they're building one in Ewing right now.
Mhm.
And they have some ponds on the property, I guess. And you can smell it.
The pods are tough, yeah.
Now,
Pods not allowed in.
pods are not allowed in town.
We would not do pods either.
So that's a good thing. I had heard that we were restricted.
Basically, the way, and we can get technical if you wanted, for me to bring the president to speak on it, but from my knowledge and how I've seen it operate, it's basically a building within a building. So it's very difficult to get odor and smell it outside of this facility, especially when you're building from scratch. All the mechanicals that are going in there are specifically to control the odor. So you have levels to it, you have insulated panels, you have climate control, there's a lot that goes into it. It's a state-of-the-art facility, there's a lot of, funds that go into this, and we need to make sure that it's perfect. For ourselves and for the town itself that we're going to be operating.
Any more comments or questions from council?
No, sir.
Want to open up to the public?
Thank you.
Okay. You can stick by in case somebody does have a question from the public. So we'll open it up to the public right now. If anybody's got a question on Resolution 1, which is 22-337, it's a cannabis cultivation application. Yes.
Can you tell me what this is near? Is it near Grounds for Sculpture or where?
No, it's near Lawrence.
I'm sorry?
It's near Lawrence Township.
It's almost, Thomas Rhodes runs off of Flock,
Off of Quaker Ridge.
off of Quaker Bridge.
Where the FedEx facility is, behind Quaker Ridge?
There's a lot of industrial buildings back there. Matter of fact, they just completed a warehouse that I know of is completed.
No homes.
Then there's, pardon?
No homes.
No, it's a totally industrial office complex. You could access it from Quaker Bridge Road or take it down to Flock, make a left, and then Thomas Rhodes is a left off of Flock.
Okay, thank you.
On the railroad.
Right. You're welcome.
It's right near Sky Zone, that's how I know.
Any other questions from the public? Okay, I guess we'll move on to resolution.
So you have to, when you're moving the resolution, move it with the amendment of the different address.
Address.
Yes.
Council President, I'd like to move Resolution 22-337 with the amendments of the address being changed to 3638 Thomas J. Rhodes Drive, Block 1519, lots 20 and 21.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
I'm going to abstain due to my position with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority.
So noted. Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Resolution passes 3-0-1.
For the record, you skipped me.
What?
You went right to him.
Did I? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but I'm a yes.
Okay, thanks.
Officially, I'm a yes.
Okay, before we move on to other comment from the public, I know the lawyers here and the new owners, right, for the CA Club, which was approved. If you'd like to say something briefly, it's up to you. I mean, it's been approved, or not. I figure I'd give you opportunity. I know you brought your lawyer here, and
I voluntarily came, actually.
They brought us.
They brought us. Okay.
We're looking forward to seeing the property
Yes.
put back into good use, so.
My name is Mark Shannon with the firm of Shannon White. I'm here on behalf of Ms. Rodriguez and her husband. Can you explain to the council, this is Margie Rodriguez, what you intend to do to the site?
Hi, Marjorie. The idea is to bring the Spanish culture, a little bit of food. It's gonna be more like Spanish fusion cuisine with a very nice Spanish looking, outside and inside. So we hope to see everybody there.
You're renovating the inside?
We are renovating the inside and the outside, as probably you guys have been there recently, and I think it's a good time.
And you already have a restaurant in the area?
We do have a restaurant in Trenton, actually.
Where is it?
Dayton Street. Right.
Off of Leyland?
Right off Leyland, yeah, the first building there.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we are gonna bring a little bit of flavor to the community. We live in Hamilton, not far from the restaurant, so I think it's, something to share with everybody.
They've been working very, very hard with everybody to make this happen, I can tell you, because they're working with them as well.
When do you anticipate opening?
Oh, hopefully in November.
Okay, good.
So we're gonna be renovating for a few months. It is not an easy job, and we hope we can open even sooner.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Look forward to it.
Good luck. I'm sure it's gonna look wonderful when you're done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go off the sign-in sheet now for the rest of public comment, and Tammy Duffy's up. So, Tammy, hi, if you could naturally state your name and address.
Yes, sir. Hello, Tammy Duffy, 109 Sweetbriar Avenue. So, hi, I hope you're having a great summer. And it takes a lot for me to get here because I work far away. So if I'm here, it's for a reason.
And you're scaling mountains.
Yes. As a resident and constituent, my expectation of public officials, it's an honor for you to have these positions, is to be very responsive to residents and constituents. And when you are not, then I have to come to the meeting. So my request, I'm going to bring up 3 different issues that have all been not responded to, so I'm disappointed, okay? The first one had to do with, and I hunted Mr. Carabelli down about this one, but we never connected on the end. Yeah. But I did send an email on April 2 on an Oprah request they did about playground inspections. It was Oprah number 224613, I think it was. And I asked for information about the inspections for playgrounds because I live in Cornell Heights and a kid got really hurt on the playground, cut up really bad. Eventually the township took that piece of playground out. But when I did the Oprah, it was very comprehensive what I asked for. I got the information I asked for. I put together an Excel to show all the inspections. That particular playground had not been inspected in 2 years. I don't get it. Like, we're paying DPW to do inspections. I don't get it. So I'm going to move on from that because I only have a short amount of time.
Tammy, I can talk to you afterwards, because I know I left you a voicemail on that one.
And I appreciate that you took my phone calls on that, but it's not cool that nobody responded when I sent all the information to the mayor, etc. Second issue was on June 25th, I made a request about maybe thinking about a new ordinance as it pertains to naming streets and possibly changing the name of one of the streets. I won't go into the details. I think you know which street I'm talking about. And the third one was on July 31st, and it was an issue that happened with animal control. So no one responded to that either. So I actually Oprah'd how many intakes happened that particular day prior on the 30th, thinking maybe they were super busy and couldn't come. The information I received, now mind you, maybe it wasn't complete, there was 1 rabbit that was done on intake on that Saturday. So what happened was at about 7:43 in the morning, I called animal control. I got the recording. No one's here. Called the police. There was an animal that was suffering on the sidewalk. So I called the police, and they say, we don't come out for this kind of animals. It was wildlife, it was a skunk, it was still suffering. I reached out to Trenton Animal Control because I volunteer over there, and I knew that they couldn't cross jurisdictions to come help. So I ended up as a resident, because I'm an ACO as well, scooping up the little skunk and ended up taking it to wildlife. When the Trenton team reached out, because they tried to get a hold of animal control that day. I'm going to read you the text message that the ACO from Hamilton sent to the ACO in Trenton. Let me pull this up very quick. Okay. You have to call the police, 581-4000. They have to get it approved by the health officer to send someone out for overtime. Maybe that's true. However, the state law clearly says, and you can pull it up, because it was in the email I sent to everybody. Not you two, you didn't get it. So, what it says in the law, any animal that is suffering, doesn't say dog, doesn't say cat, it says any. I don't understand why this text message was sent to another ACO from our ACOs. I know that the shelter is doing so many great things. I'm not here to slam the shelter at all. I'm here to understand why we're not following the state law as it pertains to suffering animals. So I'll pause.
Yeah, Tim, and we'll let Pat respond, because you're
Just want to respond briefly.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm a hoarder, but I save everything. I have every email that I've ever gotten from the township. You can go through my email, my spam file, my deleted file. I never got an email from you on April 2nd, June 25th, or July 31st, and you can go up.
I can show you them.
That's fine. I would like to see it because, and you can take, this is township property as far as I'm concerned. You can over it, you can add the whole thing. I didn't get one email from you. And I know there's some emails we can't get back to everybody.
I understand,
But we've known each other a while now. If you have gotten back to me, I'll give you my iPad. You can go through it. Every email I've ever gotten is here. I did not get an email from you. If I got an email, I would have at least sought you out. I don't really like the email thing. I'm a face-to-face person. If I got the email, I would have sought you out. I swear, you can go through my stuff. I didn't get an email from you. I would just like to see your email, Cal.
I can show it to you, but I'm looking for a response as to why we're not following the law.
We'll get there. I just want to make sure that.
So, yeah, all
All
right,
right.
go ahead.
Well, I think we're gonna have to, look into exactly what the law says. We're not gonna be able to respond to that assertion on the spot. We're gonna have to look into it. I'll follow up with you on that issue. You'll probably get 4 or 5 responses on that. We've all worked with you in the past.
Right.
We've had a good working relationship. There was no oversight. I apologize for that. We, of course, want to work with you on issues that you have with any member of the public. But we've had a long-standing working relationship, so we certainly want to address the issues. So we're going to have to look at exactly, and I'm sure our township attorney will write us a memo to council, and then we'll be able to give you feedback.
Yeah, and I guess the other question would be, why would, if the ACs are working on call, because at 9:36 that day, Jay.
I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
By all means.
Yeah.
Because I know you have, some questions. The 4 minutes is up.
All right, sorry.
No, I just got to follow protocol.
Yeah.
And you surely come back up after.
Okay.
For another 2 minutes. Thank you. Next is Leroy Ames.
Thought she was racing into the microphone.
The blocker, huh?
Good afternoon, council.
Just state your name and address.
Leroy Ames, Ridge Avenue, Hampton Township, New Jersey. I just want to thank the council for see the wheels of justice are turning. The Club 10 is down, and I'd just like to know what the council have in mind to put on the vacant lot. And I know one time they were talking about a park, but I don't think that was a good idea. But
so I want to commend my colleague Pat Perro for all the work he's done on this issue. He really has spearheaded this. I don't know if you have any additional information.
I don't. I'd have to talk to Director Dumont about it unless Alyssa. Club 10. The building upstairs.
Oh, Club 10, yes. So Club 10, now that it's down, I need to notify the U.S. Attorney's Office, who had a lien against the property because of a federal criminal case that they had found him guilty of. They have no desire to move the property, but I need to notify them specifically that what we've done. I've kept them apprised all the way through. I think the idea is to turn it into a parklet of some sort, whether it's for butterflies or just sitting or what, but it's going to be beautified, to use a word that's not a real word.
Thank you. I would suggest, because we just inherited some new neighbors across the street from the club, and whenever you decide, it wouldn't be parking area.
I'm sure that's a possibility, but I don't think that was the plan, only because then that's more ground coverage, and the idea is to make it more, sort of natural.
It doesn't seem like parking's been an issue there. I mean, am I mistaken? There's ample street parking, isn't there?
Come through there on Friday and Saturday nights.
Oh, yeah?
You get when you're out strolling around the township. And also, I'd just like to thank the council, Mr. Pat, for the speed bumps, and also the corner of Leah and Pittman. They cut the trees down, I guess, as far as they could without interrupting other people's property. That was a very good move. Very good move, because my daughter, she had to go around the block, because in the morning, they like zooming down Pittman. And when your car is halfway out there, Pittman, he been there.
We were together, he was in my car, and, as we pulled up to the stop sign, a car came by, almost took off the front of our car. And, for anybody that's not familiar, Pittman is the street that runs in between the cemetery, so it comes from Park and comes all the way down. There's only a handful of houses on the one side and a cemetery on the other. So the cars are taking off from either direction, and by the time they get to each stop sign, they're going upwards of 60, 70 miles an hour on a side road where kids are playing. Did they move the speed bumps?
No, sir.
Okay, that request was put in. They put speed bumps in on the cemetery side. In most instances, where the speed bumps are put in, usually if you have 50 houses on the street, 25 people are gonna say, yeah, I want speed bumps, and 25 people are gonna say, no, I don't want speed bumps. In this instance, what's there, 5 or 7 houses on the street?
5, I think.
Right? And all 5 people want it, so you're not gonna get any disagreements unless one of them moves out and somebody else moves in. By putting, the cemetery is not moving anywhere.
No, that's not moving. That's not going in the place. God be
By
good.
having the speed bumps, they put the speed bumps on the wrong side, they put them on the cemetery side, so now they come past the cemetery nice and slow, and they fly by their houses going 60 miles an hour again. So we're looking just to get some speed bumps down the other side, just to make it safe for the kids that are riding their bikes there.
Thank you very much for that. Also, I'd just like to ask one question I don't know how this works, because 30 years ago was different. My son has tried to purchase some property. We gave all the papers to his attorney, and once all the papers are submitted, how long does it take to get approval?
For the property, for the zoning?
Yes, sir.
This is the area that was deemed the flood zone that hasn't been flooded in 65 years?
Yes, sir.
This is the property that's back there, they're trying to build a house on. It's improperly zoned, and they're trying to get it rezoned. Samantha has the paperwork.
Yeah, I haven't had a meeting with her yet about it, so I don't have anything yet to say.
We'll check in tomorrow.
I would appreciate it, because his very,
What's that address?
the address is 22 Borden, Borden. All the paperwork has been done. I gave it to our attorney.
Okay.
He has everything, and I guess he's gonna be contacting Mr. Fred's office.
We'll look into it.
I appreciate that very much, council.
Thank you, thanks, Mr. Raines, for
I
coming.
will see you on the 3rd Tuesday.
All right. Next on the sign-in sheet is Bonnie Tillery.
Bonnie Tillery, Sawmill Road. Earlier this year, you renamed a road in Hamilton. And I'm requesting that you rename another road, one in front of the Township Library, honoring Justice Alito. This road is named after a liar, someone who swore under oath that Roe v. Wade was established precedent, and then wrote an opinion saying it was all wrong from the start and should never have been made the law of the land. Alito has ruled that women are second-class citizens. He cited a judge from the 1600s who tried women for witchcraft and said that women should be under the rule of men. Our current maternal mortality rate is the highest in the developed world. This ruling has already put the lives of women in danger, and many will die because of it. Is this someone the people of Hamilton should look up to? Is this someone the children of Hamilton should look to as a mentor? This justice has also voted to chip away at the Affordable Care Act and tried to invalidate it. He voted against gun safety. He voted to strike down key provisions of the Voting Rights Act, and it is now harder for people in some states to vote. He voted against same-sex marriage. He is opposed to key provisions of the Constitution he swore to uphold, particularly regarding a barrier between religion and state. And now he is the author of a ruling that takes away a woman's right to make her own health care decisions. Are there any roads in this town that honor women or people of color? Why not rename the road Harriet Tubman Way in honor of someone who actually stood up for the rights and dignity of her fellow human beings? After all, some people did come through our township on the Underground Railroad, and who knows, they may have been started on their journey by Harriet Tubman. It is an affront to the people of Hamilton and to all women for the road to be named after Alito.
Thank you, Bonnie. Any other public comment, or does anybody from council want to comment? Janice, you haven't, under public comment, you haven't spoken yet. Nobody else is on the list, so I'll open it up to anybody else. I'll come back to you, Tammy.
Janice Glass, 432 Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights. Okay, my sister brought up that American Cyanamid, which is on Route 1 in the end of Quaker Ridge Road, they are building at the moment 3 1 million square foot warehouses. And then phase 2 is going to be 2 more warehouses. Now, the question is, are all these trucks going to be going down Route 1, or are they going to be coming down Quaker Ridge Road to Hamilton? There was just an article in the paper how townships are trying to get together, like, what are you passing, how is it going to affect us? Are we, and, I mean, do we know about this? I mean, because all those trucks could be coming down Quaker Ridge Road. And then, in the paper yesterday, the zoning board, I guess where that giant horse used to be, across from Train, on East 8th, they're going to build a warehouse that's going to have 147 trailer storage spaces. Does that mean 147 trailer spaces are trailers are going to be coming in and out of there? Because it's 2144 East 8th Street, and 2100 is right where you turn on Sculptor's Way.
Is that posted up?
It was in yesterday's paper for the zoning board.
That's it.
Sure.
That one's news to me.
Yeah. Jazz, I can comment on the one if you want. If you still have to go.
Those are the two things.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, on Sweetbriar now, there's tractor and trailers going down there all day long, you know? And then my sister said, what's all this stuff going to be coming down Quaker Bridge now, you know, to get onto 295?
Right. So there's ongoing discussions as to that overall development. I think the overall scope and development. I've read a couple articles about it. I'm sorry. My voice is extra deep too because I lost it over the weekend. So I know the overall project calls for like something like 5.5 million square feet of warehouse distribution space. So it's a staggering number. And it wasn't just that; it was other types of development that would exist on Route 1, maybe potentially that would be adjacent to Route 1, a hotel, and maybe some office space. So This is the West Windsor development, I'm sorry, not the East State Street one that you mentioned second.
Right now,
I'm focused on the old site, site. Correct. So I know right now, where my county had, that they are, they still have to go through a review process, I think, on the county planning board. That process involves an analysis solely on the basis of, county storm drain issues, and also county roads that are impacted, which it would impact, obviously, county roads. So truck traffic and concerns that revolve around the truck traffic and the flow of the traffic and the anticipated increased traffic on those roads is definitely going to be discussed at the county planning board meeting when it makes its way there, probably in the next month or so. I know that municipalities like Hamilton, right here at home, also Lawrence, there's concerns about that development all throughout the county. What we can do to lessen the impact, figure out ways to resolve traffic concerns. There's going to be a lot of issues and a chance for our voices hopefully to be heard over the next several weeks. But yes, it is a staggering number, and the issue is that it for West Windsor, I believe, and don't quote me here, but I believe it was a legal decision that was rendered that said that property was a compliant use for warehouse and distribution, which makes it more difficult to fight that type of magnitude of the development. So, yeah, I mean, I take that road every day, so I know how there's already heavy traffic on that road. So for, a personal standpoint, yeah, there's a definite concern. And I think for Hamiltonians and folks living in Lawrence, I mean, and even in Princeton and obviously West Windsor, they're going to be impacted by it. So, we have to, just stay abreast of the situation. I'll keep us posted. But supposedly it's going to, in September, I believe, come before the county planning board.
Yeah, that site's being remediated,
I see them
still
doing
a long way
Yeah.
off.
Okay, because, because it was so funny, there was just an article in the paper, how townships will make a decision, and and another township next door goes, hey, wait a minute, do you realize that's gonna happen to us because of what you did? So I just was wondering whether we knew about it, and we are in
We are
talks
aware.
with them.
Yep, we are aware.
Okay.
And the other one, as far as East State Street, it's not a warehouse.
Oh, it
Okay,
isn't?
so what it is lots of times, especially in East State Street, sometimes you'll see tractor trailers parked on East State Street.
Oh, well, I just
So
got
this
stopped
is-
coming in because of the
Yeah,
rain,
so
yeah.
this is basically, from my understanding, I do recall this now, it's
Okay.
just gonna be a parking facilities, that's it. So instead of a trailer parking on East State or somewhere in the area where people don't want them parking, they'll be able to park there, say overnight, and in the morning, go to their destination.
Oh, okay.
So. I mean,
Because it looked like it was gonna be like 100, I was thinking, holy shit.
Yeah, no, it's not a warehouse.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
This is yours, though.
Oh.
I'm gonna pass
Okay.
it back down to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else before we go for second round? Go ahead. Steve, come on up.
Steve Clegg, Wolfpack Road. I want to follow up on Tammy's issue with animal control. We've been bringing up this issue regularly for 4 years. So I can't buy the excuse that we need to now look and see what the law is. We've known. It's been brought up time and time again. We still have no animal control coverage on holidays, on Sundays, overnight. The on-call process that the township used has been proven not to work. I've sent you all audio of the director who gets a call from a resident with an injured cat looking for help. She can't take it to North Star. When they call the ACOs, no ACOs are actually on call. They have no requirement to answer their phone. And if they don't, as we heard, the director is more than happy to say, oh well, this lady was left with this dying cat in her living room. I've given you evidence that we have our highest paid ACO does not go on any animal control calls. So why can't we cover this? We've known for 4 years, if the shelter and animal control was designated as continuous operation, as it should be, most of your overtime issues go away. As would they if people were actually scheduled on a Sunday as part of their 5-day work week. So at this point, I think we're out of excuses, at least as far as I'm concerned. The other issue, in direct correlation to Tammy's issue, is she had sent me and said she had called and wanted to know what happened. So as I do, when several residents approach me with this issue, I open the CAD logs, I open the police calls, and her call was never logged. So,
With the PD?
yes, I opened the CAD reports, I opened the audio. Brittany went back and she had them expand the search for anything in that time period, and there's nothing. So when we, lash out at animal control and say, you're not answering these calls, it's not all them. And we've heard the health officer stand up here and say they're responding to 90% of their calls. How do we know? The calls at the shelter are never logged. We've known that for years. We encourage people to call the police, assuming they're being logged, and apparently they are not either. But it's been 4 years. I mean, we've brought this up regularly, and when it was the old administration we brought it up, everybody was all on board about how this is a problem. It's still a problem.
So I asked this question during budget hearings, and I asked specifically, I believe you were here?
Yes.
I asked specifically if we had enough ACO coverage, and the answer was yes.
So, we've talked about the requirements, and, there is no requirement that we have an ACO on for 24/7. And we've made the decision not to put somebody on 24/7. We put in a process in place that when there's an after-hours call that goes to the police station, they're supposed to log it, and they're supposed to reach out to the director or the health officer to see if that's a call that should be responded to, right? Or is it something, because all types of calls come in all the time. And that's when they get the okay to start going down the list of ACOs to call one in. We also added a part-time attendant who, when he's not working part-time, has his ACO license, so he's an additional ACO that we can call after hours for after hours or weekend calls. So, I think it does happen that sometimes the calls aren't handled according to that protocol, and so we have to make sure that we're following up on that when they're not handled properly. But for right now, that's the process that we decided to work with, and, that's what we have in place and what we have budgeted for. So we decided not to go to a 24/7 operation for ACOs. Look, we review this all the time, and especially at budget time, because that would be the time where we would have to add in funds if we were going to do something different than what we're doing now. So, I can tell you that we'll continue to monitor it, and I want to know at times when they're not following the protocol. The last couple of times that we've had calls, the director has indicated to me that she never got a call on certain things when it was after hours, and she should have gotten a call. So I think we have to sit down again with police and make sure that their protocols are being followed the way that they should be. And, look, I don't know why something didn't get logged. Again, we have to go through police dispatch to try to find out what breakdown, what happened there. And I do know that there's been a couple of times, I'm not blaming them completely, but there's been other times where the calls have gone out and the ACOs aren't responding. But now that we have an additional person, that seems to be helpful.
But so the on-call process doesn't actually require somebody to be on call, so nobody's even required to answer the phone, and if nobody does, nothing's done. And that doesn't address the fact that we have an ACO who never leaves the shelter for any ACO calls. There's not a reason in the world they can't spread those out.
Why do we have an ACO that don't? I don't know, I've heard this before, but why would we have an ACO that is not responding to calls? And if he isn't, then maybe he needs to be brought in and had a chat to.
Well, they may not be assigned those calls, but I think it's more a management issue than an ACO, personal ACO issue. But the other point is, the law itself requires, as Tammy says, that these things be addressed. It doesn't specify 24/7, but neither does any other law. And the absence of an hourly restriction or daily restriction means it's in effect always. Statement in the law is shall. There's no, business hours for speed limits or bank robbery or anything else. And that's the way the law works.
Steve, could you name any similarly situated towns to Hamilton that have 24/7?
Bordentown. Trenton.
Any other towns?
Bloomfield.
How common is it?
I don't audit 525 municipalities, but we do where we find they aren't doing it. We push for it. And in this township, we've been pushing for it for 4 years. And, for 2 years, we were assured it was going to be rectified. And then the following 2 years, we've been having the same conversation.
I know we're over time, but there's not really many other people who want to speak, so I just would like to ask to continue. Is there a way we can ask for mutual aid from a neighboring town on the hours we don't have it? Because I know we provide mutual aid to other towns for other services. Is there a way that maybe we can work out some type of agreement?
Yeah, that was a suggestion I made to the mayor last year.
And to be fair, the township has been making an effort to address the issue. There was a contractor, an attempt at utilizing a contractor. That didn't work out. So I would imagine that the administration is looking at options at all times. And, if it's a budgeting issue, then when budget time comes around, it's certainly something that I'm open to looking at. I can't imagine it's going to break the bank if we had an ACO or a couple of ACOs.
Well, it depends, because without looking at the union contract, I don't know off the top of my head if it's, for example, if it's double time overnight, for example.
Yeah, I don't want to get ahead of my skis.
Right. So again.
It depends on where the needs are,
there's
and we have to prioritize, and it's always about, providing as much as we can for as little taxpayer money as possible. So if there's a shared services alternative or a contractor alternative that we haven't explored, I understand your concern that there are calls that are not being addressed. That's not acceptable. I think we all, I certainly agree with you on that. So, it needs to be addressed. It's just a matter of how best to go about that.
And how do we address the issue of these calls not being logged? Because I get people who reach out to me frequently and say they've called, and I Oprah before I say anything. If I don't see a call log, and I reach out to these people, and they can't prove to me they called, I have to drop it. But now I have to start questioning: are these calls being logged?
Because having been in a dispatcher's room, when a call comes in, if somebody calls and says, hey, I just saw a low flying plane, or maybe not even that. Hey, I just saw a bird, maybe I think the bird hit the side of my house. Would you expect them to document that? Would anybody expect them to document that?
I don't know. I'll take your clarification, but in this scenario,
that's my question is, what is deemed to be having to be mandatorily documented and what is not? Somebody coming and saying, hey, the guy, if I call the radio room right now and I say, hey, by the way, my neighbor across the street is painting his house purple, do you expect them to document that?
I would expect that the call itself was logged, yeah.
The call is recorded, but it's not logged.
Okay,
Every call that comes into a police department, some people just call the police department to find out, hey, my garbage didn't get picked up. All those calls are not going to be logged. So is there a distinction on what has to be logged and what doesn't? Because maybe it's not somebody not doing their job. Maybe it doesn't say in the SOPs every single call has to be logged, because every single call isn't logged.
Okay.
When I call my radio room to sign on in the morning instead of picking up the radio, it's not logged. And that's why I said, rather than just trying to hang somebody, let's say, hey, let's figure out, are they actually following the rules or are they not? And then move forward with.
I agree.
Okay, so how do we?
Well, we definitely need to contact somebody over there and figure out which way we're going.
And we do receive an awful lot of calls that the protocol is followed and it's responded to, and they do get ACOs to go out, and sometimes the ACOs are on their way out and the situation gets resolved and they call them back and say, we don't need you now. So again, a lot of times it is working, but we want to get at the times where it's not working and try to figure out why. So, but that's an excellent point, and you're probably right. They may have a protocol before that certain things they don't respond to, right? And I'm not sure, what their complete protocol is.
Where it's classified. Yesterday, I can tell you for a fact, last night a call went out, and within 3 minutes, a couple cop cars showed up. Guy was driving down Main Street in Groveville taking pictures of houses. Stopping and taking pictures of houses that were or weren't for sale.
Right.
Cars were out there within several minutes. That's a call that obviously is documented. Somebody calling up and saying, hey, there's a guy walking his dog on the leash, and the dog just came up to my front porch because it's a 20-foot leash or it's a 6-foot leash.
Right.
Those things may not be documented. So that's why I said, let's figure out where the line in the sand is and then figure out if they were actually right or wrong.
Yeah, because, yeah, and in the end, we should find somebody that at least, for these things, because there is a requirement to go out, that at least we know how many calls we're getting and how many are responding to. Because, yeah, it's just,
I agree.
I end up submitting a lot of Oprah requests to find this out before I stand up here, and it chews up a lot of everybody's time.
Well, listen, we all appreciate your concerns, yours and Tammy's both on this issue, and I like Pat's suggestion that maybe we follow up to find out exactly what the protocol is on every call, and we should be able to have an answer by the next council meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Anybody else before Tammy comes back up for first go round? All right, looks like you're it, Tammy. Come on up.
Tammy Duffy, 109 Sweetbriar. So just to continue with a couple more data points. So skunks are considered rabies vector animals, and the number one job of any ACO is to protect the public from rabies. We all know that, okay? Number one. So when I called the township ACOs, couldn't get through, and then when I called the police department, I spoke to a woman, and what she shared with me was that the police won't come out to help with a skunk. I get it, not a problem. They'll help with deers, not smaller wildlife. Not a problem, no issue there. However, when the ACOs from Trenton reached out to the Hamilton ACOs, and they full well knew it was a wildlife animal skunk, why would the Hamilton Township ACOs not know that the police wouldn't come out for a skunk?
So, I'm not sure in this
Yeah,
situation.
so there's a breakdown in the communication.
What you said about this situation is, it sounded like our ACO was just telling the Trenton ACO that the person should follow the protocol, right? Because not necessarily to have police go out and respond to the injured skunk, but to go through the process to call the director, and because the ACO was probably not wanting to get in trouble by responding themselves and waiting for that authorization.
However, their text message clearly said, call the police.
Right.
So why would the ACO from Hamilton not know that the police won't come out for a skunk? So there's a breakdown in that communication that probably needs to be
I'm
optimized.
saying that the ACO was thinking that the police is gonna call the director to call an ACO.
May
Is that the
still be
process?
There may still be the protocol during off hours to go through the police.
Right.
Despite, regardless of what type of animal we're talking about.
Right, so, but I get your point.
Yeah.
We don't want to send somebody in circles, but at the same time, they're told to follow protocol, and that's what I think that they were trying to do. I can only assume, but we're going to get to the bottom of that situation.
Yeah, because I'll just read this quickly. Title 4, 19, 15, 16, Section 5. any dog or other animal
What does it say
Off the
next?
premise, you have to finish reading, you can't.
off the I'm gonna read the whole thing, off the premises of the owner,
Right.
or the person charged with its care that is reported to, or observed by a certified animal control officer to be ill, injured, or creating a threat, blah, blah, blah. Okay, or observed by a certified animal control officer, right?
Normal rounds.
So if I call them as a member
One-
of the community, that there's an animal, wildlife, injured, suffering, it was on the sidewalk, they won't come. I'm just trying to understand the
Just to
process.
clarify,
I
just
don't
to,
know that they wouldn't come.
just
Well,
to
they wouldn't.
remind everybody,
Yeah,
Tammy's an ACO. She doesn't work for Hamilton, but she's a licensed
yeah.
animal control.
I would never leave an animal suffering on the sidewalk as an ACO, never,
So I think
never.
that's the wrinkle, right?
yeah. Never in a million
That's where
years.
you're-
So I just ask that we look at what process we have, follow up why the ACO didn't know that the police only come out for deer. They need to understand that, so that they're not telling the community or other ACOs from other jurisdictions the wrong information. Because in the end, you lose time in the animal, whatever it is, dog, cat, whatever, suffers. And animals should not be left to suffer, that's all. Thank you.
But again,
Thank you.
I don't think that they were trying to tell the wrong information. I think they were telling the right information about the protocol. And the protocol was to have dispatch call the director, and then the director would authorize the ACO to go out. And had, that all come together like it should have, perhaps the ACO would have gone out, observed the skunk, and been able to care for it and take it instead of, having.
Yeah, because it does appear it didn't work out, because at 9:36 a.m. that same day, Jay Schultz did go help a rabbit, because I did ask for early intake. So people were around, they just didn't go out.
And the only other thing that I was going to say, for both you and Steve, anytime you have these issues or you have questions, you can certainly include me on the emails, because then I can reach out to the council as well, or to the mayor, or whoever else you have on the emails, to make sure that we're following up and getting a response. Not that you all didn't, I'm just saying that sometimes the communications, get lost when, it's not getting to everyone. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you again, Tammy. Thank you. Anybody else from the public? Okay. Seeing some, we'll move on to council comments before we adjourn. Okay, sir. Rick, you want to start?
Sure. So, Assemblyman Dan Benson was at the groundbreaking for the Portal Bridge, which is going to have a positive impact for commuters from Hamilton. So he's the leader of the Transportation Committee, and in that role, he's working to improve transportation infrastructure throughout the state. He was at the groundbreaking for the Portal Bridge, which is a part of building a tunnel across the Hudson, which is going to improve commute times for our residents who commute from our Hamilton train station. So I just wanted to point out the work that our Assemblyman is doing on behalf of our residents. Additionally, we still have one Sweetbriar resident left here. The Watershed Institute is going to be having an Ask and Think roundtable. This is something that I've been asking for years, so I'm looking forward to finally, 12 towns are going to come together to discuss flooding along the Assunpink. This is going to be happening in September. There will be more details to follow, but I did just want to let folks know that there are going to be discussions happening between the towns, because we do need a multi-town effort to address flooding along the Assunpink. So finally, we have some forward movement, something positive happening in that regard. Otherwise, I'd just like to thank our Council Vice President for his close attention to my comments, and for running the meeting tonight, and I wish everybody a good night.
Anthony?
So I'll give a little update regarding the Hamilton Township Economic Development Advisory Commission. I don't know if I had mentioned this. I don't believe I had mentioned this regarding the award recipients for this year, the 2022 award recipients. And I think they're all great organizations and individuals who do a lot for our community here in Hamilton. The event will take place in October 27th. But I just wanted to mention them. We had the Impact Award with Rotary Club of Hamilton and Robbinsville, the Large Business of the Year Award, Radiology Affiliates, Imaging, Small Business of the Year Award, Geico, Mercer, Nonprofit Award goes to the Miracle League of Mercer County, and the Morris T. Perilli Business Volunteer of the Year Award goes to Jay Dugan, who does a phenomenal job with Shop Hamilton, and the Mayor's Beautification Award goes to Mill One. So we're pleased to honor these organizations and individuals as they continue to have a tremendous impact on our community. I also just want to, I know it was in the Hamilton Post, and baseball and athletics are something that I take great joy in. I have two young ones, but are on the sports scene, just some really notable things that our men and women have, young men and women have accomplished. We had the girls softball at Steiner. I think they were the state runner-up, if I'm correct. We also had HTRBA, our local Little League, the 12s won their district. We had the 11s at Nottingham, went on a tremendous run the second year in a row that they won states, and then they went on to regionals, won the regional runner-up to Pennsylvania, strong Pennsylvania team. And then we had the 10-year-olds who were at Sunnybray that were able to win the district title. So just some, and it was balanced throughout the town, so that makes it even more special. So we had just some, great athletes in our town, and the coaches that put the time and effort into in running the leagues. We appreciate their work and support.
Well, sounds like you have some work to do with the 11s to get them over the hump in the regions, Anthony, so you got a year to.
Yeah, we'll work that out. Thanks.
Councilor Carroll?
I want to congratulate Councilman Carabelli on his excellent coaching. We followed that team, we followed them online, tried to watch them live. You set a good example of what a young man should be, so hopefully they follow your lead and continue onto your path. Want to thank everybody who came out here. We appreciate, we're not always going to agree, but we appreciate your opinions. We welcome the new businesses, the new applicants. Good luck with your ventures. That's what Hamilton's all about, right? Bringing something new to the town, and we definitely look forward to that. Unfortunately, I won't be at the next meeting. September 20th, I'll be away at a work conference. That's our next meeting. So, Mr. Ames, I'm sure we're going to have to catch up over coffee rather than here at a meeting. I'm going to keep it brief and say goodnight to everybody. Thank you for coming and get home safe.
I'm also going to keep it brief, but I know Rick mentioned about the hearing for the watershed, right? Okay, I think one of the things that, be nice to come out of this, because I know a lot of people have been talking, for years over there as far as the dredging of Whitehead, and hopefully that'll be a topic of discussion. I'd love to see something happen. Hopefully the Army Corps of Engineers are there and put some of their input into it. But also, like Councilman Perro said, I appreciate everybody coming out and expressing your thoughts and your comments, and we appreciate, we take everything to heart that you have to say, and we're going to look into some of the issues that we heard tonight. And like Anthony said, we had a great year with our athletic teams, and hopefully that continues into the fall. Summer's almost over, unfortunately. It's starting to cool down a little bit. I know your son got us over here, but it's been a long, hot summer. We need rain, that's for sure. So, like Pat said, I wish the new business over at former Palermo's, I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck and success, and appreciate our cannabis cultivating company, for coming in tonight, giving a brief presentation. And with that, I hope everybody has a safe night, and we probably won't be meeting until after Labor Day, correct?
That's right.
Right? So I hope everybody enjoys Labor Day, be safe, and enjoy the rest of the summer with your families. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please, no problem.
Congratulations.
Thank you.